Julissa, hi, hello, and welcome to the Female Startup Club podcast.
How are you?
I am so great now that I'm chatting to you. This is definitely the best part of my day, getting on these recordings. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you start by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about what your business is?
My name is Julissa Prado. I'm founder and CEO of Rizos Curls hair care line. And we create hair products for people with wavy, curly, or coily hair textures.
Amazing. I know from reading about you that your story has so much love and soul in its origins. Could you take us back to where it all began?
Yes. Um, so I've been pretty much doing hair and been attracted to hair ever since I was a teenager. I never did it professionally, but I grew up with a really big family in Los Angeles. And inevitably, by having over 60, 70 first cousins just in LA, I had a lot of clientele. And so starting in ninth grade, I remember as a ninth grader, I was like any homecoming or prom season, I was booked up. Like seniors would literally book me to style their hair. So I was always very attracted to hair. I was always good at it. I've always said like I have the hands for it. Um, and during that time too, I wanted to start wearing my hair natural because back then I was straightening it all the time. And it was very normal to me to like turn to the earth and turn to natural ingredients to care for my skin, my scalp, my hair. And it was all from my own grandmother's teachings. And so I just started making my own concoctions. If my scalp had something going on with it, I could cut some aloe vera plant. If my hair was feeling like I needed more hold, get some flaxseed, boil it. Like it was something very normal. So I had my own concoctions, and the natural styling natural became just like another of the options that I had when doing hair on the side while in high school.
Oh my God, that's amazing. When you were doing, the hair for these women, did you actually think like, oh, I want to turn this into a business in terms of a hair salon? Or did you think, oh, I want to turn these concoctions into a business? Or it didn't even cross your radar at that point?
So what's crazy is that I never thought I would ever be a stylist. I never hairstylist. I never thought as like a as a potential job. It didn't even cross my mind that like I would ever even go in that direction. I was always I went to UCLA for undergrad, and then I got my master's in business, and I was like always very much in the corporate world. And at the time back then, I wanted to be a lawyer. Like that's what I wanted to do at that time. So hair was just kind of like a fun little side hobby that I would do, but I never even thought it could turn into anything business for me. Um, but I was a big saver, and I knew ever since I started working when I was around like 14 years old, but at 15, I remember saving half of my money starting since then, and I would put it away for either like a business or just in general. I did want to make out of convenience. I knew that I wanted to make my product professionally, but for myself. Like I didn't really think of it as a business per se, but I would save my money because I was like, I want to make this is so inconvenient for me to carry this around in Ziploc bags, to have to refrigerate this, to like it goes bad after a little while. Like this is very inconvenient. I'm gonna say start saving my money. So it's just crazy how I kind of didn't know what I was doing, but I was like making the correct decisions to start being able to eventually self invest.
And I think it's also so crazy that like you hadn't recognized the idea yet that you could start a business and view yourself as an entrepreneur. You were, doing all these things and taking these steps, but it hadn't like clicked and fallen into place yet.
Not at all. Like I've always said, it's hard to become what you don't see. And for me, like what, like I remember not even knowing what college was. Like I never had met anybody that had gone to college. I never knew what university was. I didn't even like I literally learned English at freaking like in third grade. Like my parents They're both from Mexico. My dad crawled through a sewer when he was a teenager to get to this country. He worked in the fields picking oranges. Like my stories, like, you know what I mean? Like they never went to school at all. They barely know how to read and write. Like, so I think where I started, it was just very different life than, than this entrepreneur life that I now have. But back then, I remember like the first time I ever met somebody that went to college and were going to college to become a lawyer. And then that's why I wanted to be a lawyer. Cause it was like my second cousin, somebody was, um, she was like from our neighborhood too. And then she wanted to be a lawyer. And I was like, you're my idol. Like, that's what I want to do. So yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Oh my gosh, what a story. That's wild. So you go to school, you finish, you graduate, da da da, you're in the corporate world. When does the aha moment happen where you think, "Oh, hang on, I'm actually going to start formulating my products
Yeah, so
and using my savings?" How much savings did you have, by the way, before we start that?
in total it was close to $80,000 by the time I like ended because I was able to get I got scholarships in undergrad. For grad school, I applied to a fellowship and PepsiCo. I was a PepsiCo fellow, so they gave me like this like really dope scholarship, and I worked for PepsiCo while in grad school. So I was able to I've been working my whole life. Like I've ever since I turned 15, like I've been working, and I would always save my money. So I didn't have that many expenses because I was able to save my money, and luckily I didn't have to like help my parents with their expenses. So it was just savings for me. But
Savings for you. Right. Okay. So you've got the 80,000 in the bank. When is the aha moment that you think I'm going to take that 80,000 and I'm going to spend it on my formula?
yeah, so all throughout high school and grad school and all this time that I'm like in this amazing this time I'm already in grad school working for PepsiCo, and then I'm going to go work for Nestle. And this whole time I've never stopped doing hair. Like so many of my best friends, I met them. I'm like at in grad school, I'm at the elevator and I see this girl, and I would call them undercover curlies, women that you would never know that have curly hair. They would be like, "How do you get your hair like that?" And I'm like, "Meet me in the bathroom in an hour. I'll help you." And I would bring out my concoctions and do their hair. And then I would teach them, and they would see their hair natural for the first time. I would hold dorm sessions. I was always known for that. And the amount of women that I met throughout high school, college, and even in the workforce and grad school that I styled their hair and helped them, taught them about their own hair, and they saw it natural for the first time. It was like hundreds of them, hundreds of them.
You were building your tribe.
So by the time once I decided, I want to make these professional, I still didn't think that it was going to be enough for me to leave my corporate job. But I just thought it's very inconvenient. Like every time I'm helping these people, which I'm doing it all the time, like it would be easier if I didn't have to write down all these instructions, and like, it was more of a convenience thing. And I thought, you know what, this is a big risk, but like worst comes to worst, I have a lifetime supply of hair care products for me and my huge family. Like what I have, like again, just on my dad's side in LA, I have like over 60 first cousins. In total, I probably have over 100. Like it's crazy. So yeah, that's when I decided to make it professional, and it took me 4 years, and I worked with multiple different chemists before I was able to land the formula that I really wanted. And I think the reason why when I did launch, it did so good is because it actually works. It's because I spent those 4 years, I knew exactly what I was looking for. I had been working with so many different scalps, so many different hair textures, so many different ingredients. Like I had been doing all of that work of like testing out and understanding like what is going to work in what environments and what hair climates, what hair types, etc. So I was very focused and knew exactly what I wanted, and no chemist, no big fancy lab could sway me in a different direction. Like I remember the first lab that we went with, that I was trying to go with, they were like very fancy, big time, and then they kept telling me like, this is how you should do this. And I was like, me, like no experience. I'm this little like 21-year-old girl. I'm like, nope, that's not gonna work. Da-da-da-da-da. You know, like who am I? But
But
I
you stuck
was,
to your guns.
yeah.
So, in that 4 years that it took for you to get to the formula, so are we talking like you launched in 2017? So, is this 2013 you start this process of, okay, I'm going to formula? Why did it take 4 years? Is it also because you were still working full time, so you were moving at it slower? Or was it because you had to kind of like restart again with new manufacturers along the way?
I had to restart again. So I went through a ton of different chemists too. Like, and I was like, that was a moment transitioning, especially from like the first 2 years of trying over and over with one lab, was like so much money that I invested because each sample is $500. Like, that's a lot of money of 2 year rounds and rounds of samples that take like, I give comments, it takes a few months to come back. I'm like redoing this, you know, it takes a long time, and a lot of money was invested. And I remember at that moment that I couldn't get it right with like the multiple chemists in that first lab that I had already put so much money into. I was like, maybe it's impossible. Maybe like it's I'm not gonna find what I'm looking for here. But I was very glad that I didn't settle. Like, because I could have easily settled the first time around and been like, I guess this is good enough. But I didn't do that. And I took like 3 months off between the two manufacturers before I like kind of like re-upped again and really went for it to start all over again from the beginning. Um, but I'm glad I did, because eventually I did land the formula that I loved and wanted.
You made the magic, it sounds like. How many samples do you think you made in that 4 year process?
Oh my god, like oof, hundreds, like 100, like I don't even. It was just so many, and so the way that it works. I mean, I don't know how it works in other industries, but at least most of the time with pretty the standard with hair care is you get like, depending on the contract that you have, you either get two or three like versions of that one sample, and each time it's $500. So, um, yeah,
It's expensive. It's really expensive. It's going to take a lot of money. Holy moly. Okay. So you move manufacturers, you find the magic, they're on board with what you're doing, you're happy, you're like, okay, I'm going to place an order. What was the minimum orders like for you at that time, and what happens next?
yeah. So there's so many. It's crazy because I'm feel so blessed and so lucky that I got in the industry at the time that I did too, because now that I'm in it, and after, you know, COVID and all the different things, the manufacturers now have such high minimums that had I tried to start now, there's no way I would have been able to afford those minimums. Now it's like at least 10,000 minimum per SKU. Before, there was maybe like 5,000, and I was able to convince my manufacturer to bring it down to 1,500 per SKU, which for me was a lot, and it's so much money. But I was really lucky in that it was like a really great time for the industry, where it was, you know, there wasn't like supply issues, there wasn't like crazy competition in that, you know. And I think that because of that, these labs were more willing to risk, you know, bringing on board this little girl that has not a company. She has no customers, no guarantee. It's like, it's not usually would it be worth their time. And I think that had I try to do that now, what? Like, I don't know how I would have been able to get my foot in the door because I can't afford their minimums, you know?
Someone on the show the other day, a woman by the name of Xenia Chen, and she has a company called Threads. She was saying, and one of her key takeaways from the lesson was, everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. And so what I'm wondering is, how did you actually negotiate from 5,000 down to 1,500? Because that sounds bloody amazing.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm a Pisces. Let me just put that out there. And we have the gift, and I was born with the Pisces gift of being able to relate and being able to really connect with other humans and being able to like have a really strong sense of like empathy and how help others empathize with myself as well. And I don't know, we just like get people and they get us for some reason. And so many of these people that I was meeting along the way, they would literally tell me like, I've never done this before, but like, I believe in you. I believe your story. I want to support you. Like, I would never lower my minimums like this, but like, I believe in you. Like, I want to support you. I see your passion and your da 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 da. Like, because I was like literally this girl, like, okay, I know I don't have anything right now, and I don't want da 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 da, but like my formulas are going to be so good, and I know what I'm looking for, and I know I don't have any customers right now, but like trust me, I know they're there, and da 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 da. So I'm like selling myself with nothing. you know, I'm like I can make a really dope PowerPoint deck with pretty colors, but I don't have any data. I don't have anything to support it other than the fact that, I'm a hard worker with a lot of heart. And they're like, girl, I don't know, but it worked out. And I was really lucky that um, people were put in my path that were willing to take a risk on me.
Mm. And I think as well, you had true conviction. You just knew. You knew, and maybe you didn't have the data, but you actually, if you think about it, you did have the data because you had these women who you had been working with since you were in grade 9. So you actually did have the data. It just came in a different way than versus like, numbers on a spreadsheet.
Yeah. And then for me, one big thing that I kept telling them was like, so I grew up in predominantly Latino neighborhoods my whole life. And what I was telling them, I'm like, you guys don't understand, like the natural hair movement has missed so much of the Latino community because of the language barriers. I'm like, all of my tias, all of my cousins, like everywhere that you're in here, no one knows the slight bit of information about textured hair. All they know is about straight hair. I'm like, every hairstylist that I meet, all they teach them in cosmetology school is how to straighten hair. When it comes to textured hair, they don't teach them how to treat a real scalp, what the ingredients that you need to use. They're using chemicals, they're using silicones, they're using sulfates, they're using all of these ingredients that are working against all of these women's natural hair texture. And I'm like, I'm going to the store and there's nothing out there for me, for us, for my community, for every single woman that I see out there. There's nothing that is helping their hair be beautiful today and also good for the long-term health of our scalp and hair. And I was telling them like Latinos, we care, especially we care about natural, we care about quality ingredients, like we care about organic because it's part of our culture. But society and all of these stores that we go into, it's all like super GMO, it's all super like cheap, like harsh chemicals, like all these things. But I'm telling you, like I know one thing that I know is my culture, my community, my people, and I know what they want, and I know what the market is lacking from. So um, yeah. So I feel like I, and that's one thing that I tell everyone that wants to go into an industry that they are unfamiliar with, or they feel like it's too saturated, or they feel like they are the super underdog. What I tell them is, you don't just create a business, you create a solution to a problem. And if you have the solution to a problem and you're looking around and there's all these people that also need that solution, like more than you can make up in creativity and in your knowledge what other companies will need millions of dollars to do the market research and need for marketing dollars. Like that is knowledge that is unmeasurable. And if you have that, like there's the world is gonna help you like get that solution out to people.
It's like your own inner, like internal secret sauce or something, for sure. Okay, I want to talk about the launch. You've got your MOQs back. You have got the magic in your hands. How do you launch and what's it like? What happens?
Yes. So I was also in a very interesting time that later on I realized how much it played into it, but it was right before like Trump campaign, like the political era of the time, especially United States. It was a really weird climate, political climate where it was like very anti-Latino. And it was, oh my God, so much like hate crimes and this and that. Like, so I saw a switch, like a huge switch, even in just noticing my mom, how she would answer the phone pre that time versus after. So for example, somebody would call her in English to like, I don't know, sell her something. Before she would be like, oh, so sorry, no English, no English. I'm so sorry. She's like very apologetic, very like, oh, I'm so sorry. Ugh. During that time, after like, you know, when all the anti-Latino stuff was going on, she was answering it like, no Spanish, no money. You want my money? You call me Spanish. Click. And I'm like, okay, mom. That's so that's what we're doing. Okay. So it was a time where I feel like I saw Latinos, especially everybody. It seemed like every culture wanted to unapologetically be their culture and they wanted to own it and they wanted to wear it on their sleeve because they were like, I don't want you to confuse that I'm that to be feel comfortable like being racist around me. I don't want you to feel comfortable like putting down my culture. I want you to see how beautiful and how successful and how well spoken I can be, you know, and be part of this culture or whatever. So, oh my God.
Take a sip. Take a sip. We need a wine.
Seriously. So it was a really interesting time that it was it was like the communities and in general communities in general were realizing their power and they were realizing how much money is not just a transaction. Money is a transaction of power. And I feel like we were in a time where people were saying, I don't want to just give power to people and companies that are going to mishandle it, that are going to use that power to misrepresent my community, to attack my community, to put people in power that you know are going to create policies and things that are putting down the people around me. So in came the rise of like all these different like small businesses that I was like seeing pop up, and I was one of them. And like really, all I did was I made a Facebook page, I made an Instagram page, and mind you, at this point, I have zero marketing dollars because I've already spent all of my money towards buying all of this inventory, buying all of these labels and bottles and da da da, and like all of these things that went into it. And I don't have any money. I mean, I have like my own income from, I'm still working at Nestle, but I don't have marketing money. So I just made an Instagram page for the business. I made some videos with my phone. And I just upload it and I made the website myself on Shopify. The models were me and my cousins. The photographer was my brother. Um, the I want to see if I had a bottle right here. The drawing on the bottle, my cousin drew that. It was like a super family. It was like, all right, so you know how to draw? Great. Can you draw this drawing on my bottle? Susie, come over here. Let me first up your hair. All right. One of my cousins, that his picture ended up being like the featured picture in an L like feature that they did for us. He had never used a camera before in his life. Okay. I borrowed a camera and I handed it to my cousin Ed and was like, Ed, you know what? You have a good eye. You look like you could be a photographer. Come take these pictures of us. First picture, professional photo he ever took literally ended up in Elle magazine, which is crazy. But yeah, so I was just like utilizing my friends and family, and I would make these little videos and whatever, and I posted it on there. And I remember the very, very first day that I opened my website and I posted my little videos and I announced it. It was, oh my God, like even just thinking about it right now gives me like goosebumps. It makes me want to cry because
It's profound.
wow. Okay, wow.
I'm loving this. I'm loving
Sorry.
this. Don't be sorry. I love it.
Okay, sorry. What is going on? Like this doesn't happen. Wow.
Take a sip. Take a sip.
Are you a water sign too? What are you?
I'm a Leo, but my mom is a Pisces. And I feel like I really resonate with water in general. Like when you were describing like what a Pisces is, I was like, that sounds like me. Even though I
Yes.
am a Leo.
Yeah, I love Leos. They're my favorite. So yeah, so pretty much where was I? Oh yeah, the first day that I launched, it was like an outpour of support of just God.
All the love. You felt all the love.
Yeah, no, so pretty much like all those women that I had been helping for so long, uh, little did I know they would all become my first customers. So it was just really beautiful and kind of like full circle moment when I am sorry.
Don't be sorry. I love this.
God, why did God make me so emotional? Oh, so annoyed. I had a good streak. Like before in the beginning, anytime I did like interviews or whatever, I would like start getting teary eyed. And I had a whole year where I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. Cause I would look in the mirror like, toughen up. We're not doing this. So I had a whole year where like I hadn't shed one tear. And then over here, a Leo comes with Pisces energy.
Honestly, I can get teary like real easy myself. So you never know. You might make me cry over here. It might come to me. It might come through the computer.
Okay, so yeah, so pretty much they all became my first customers. I didn't realize that I was pretty much like you said, building all of these supporters, like building my trust in the community. So it was really nice when I launched and most of the customers, I was receiving so many testimonials. And in the comments, I was like, when you purchase on Shopify, it lets you like leave a comment in the notes. And there was messages like, I don't know if you remember this, but in 2012, um, I ran into you at this student conference and you did my hair in the bathroom. And I've been wearing my hair natural ever since then. So of course, I'm going to support the products.
Oh my God. Wow. That's crazy.
So I think the very first day we had over like 100 orders, which is crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah. Like, and oh, so then 100 orders, they got to get fulfilled. And I'm still working full time with Nestle. I have a full time job. Um, so I was really lucky in that that could have been a moment where I lost it. Like the business just, that's it. You have all these orders. Like, how are you going to fulfill so many at one time? I don't even have all the supplies. I think I had enough supplies for like 20 orders. Like, I didn't think that what? Like I had like 20 boxes. I had like 20 tissue papers. Like, I did not expect to have more than like 10 orders. Okay. So I called, well, I was calling all these different places. I was like, okay, where am I going to get these more boxes? I found a place called Paper Mart that they did overnight delivery. Um, and what I did have is a bunch of cousins. I have a huge family and a bunch of cousins and at the time I was living in Mid City where all of my family lived. So I just drove down Washington Boulevard, picked up all my cousins on Redondo, the one cousin, Rimpau, two cousins on Vineyard, other cousins on Crenshaw, another cousin. So I just like picked up all my cousins and was like, let's get to work. They're just like teenagers. They'll literally do all this work for like hot Cheetos and like a YG playlist. So it worked out. So that was us just going hard. My mom, like all of my family was like, okay, what can we do to help you? Like, they're just, I have the most amazing, loving, I have, I'm just, I cannot stress enough how much of a family effort my business and my whole life has been. So I'm just really lucky.
That is so amazing. Gosh, how beautiful. I love that for you. So, at what point do you quit your job? At what point do you think, okay, like there's something here for me to do and I can't keep managing both? What are the next steps?
So I quit my job within the first year. So it was November 2017 that I quit my job. And I was still, granted, I was really lucky in that I had been able to start working from home during like that time. So I was like really trying and hoping to balance both. But the moment that like I felt like I had no choice was when I had to do like a work trip and I was gonna have to be gone for a week. And they didn't know I have like a workforce. Like I like literally have like all these little teenagers and like these orders and these things in my like apartment. And by this time we moved into my Theo Juan's garage. So I was really lucky within a week. I was like, I can't support this in my apartment. Like this is not gonna work out. So I was able, my uncle that lives down the street from where I was living off Washington Crenshaw, he's like, well, I have a garage. Come over, like just, you know, use my garage. And I just remember that feeling when I saw the garage, I'm like, I did it. I made it. This is big time. Look how much space garage is, like, which is hilarious now thinking back of like how impressed I was by that garage and how quickly we grew out of that garage. But I was like, I did it. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that business is huge. I'm in my Theo One's garage.
I have got this garage. My business is
Yeah,
here. I
you
have
can tell.
interns. People are working for me. That is so lol.
Yeah, you can't tell me nothing. Nothing.
How much revenue had you done in that year? Like up until November 2017, what was the kind of numbers that you were looking at?
So I'd only been officially launched like 2 months, literally. So I like it was very. I had opened up the social media pages earlier on, but like full on website and fully going, it wasn't until October. So I was like not even 2 months in, and I was doing really good. So the first full year of actually doing business, of being open, we made like $1 million in sales.
What? Okay, so that was a real serious move into the garage.
Direct to consumer, mind you. Well, the garage, we moved into the garage within the first month. So I had no idea that it was going to grow to that. And, I didn't know like, oh, I was going to eventually, if I keep going for 12 more months, I'm going to, make $1 million in sales. Like, I didn't think that was the case. But, yeah, the garage was like within the month, and it was just, everything was just moving so fast.
Had you set yourself any goals, like personally, of what you thought you were going to do or what you kind of hoped you were going to do in terms of revenue?
Yeah, like already, which is crazy. Already I've surpassed like every goal I ever had for myself in life. I'm like, girl, what? Like, how did like you went to college? You graduated high school. Like you went to grad school. You started a business, and it's like you're not just selling out of your trunk. Like you have customers, and they're like another country. Like I already am like anything more on top of this. I'm like, oh my god, you know. So I'm already like surpassed my biggest imagination of where this could go. But I'm also very competitive. And I'm also you know, wanted to grow and continue. For me, it was more of like the why behind it wasn't necessarily like I want to make a bunch of money. It was every time these women are trying this product, they're sending me these testimonials like I've never seen my hair curly. This is my first time seeing it natural. Um, I feel so much more confident. We had this one lady send us this whole thing like um, wearing my hair natural for the first time gave me so much confidence. I even decided to leave my husband, my abusive husband, blah blah blah. I I was getting the craziest testimonials, and I was seeing that because for me too, I feel like um, I was learning to love my hair and learning to love like myself and my natural state was a big part of like learning to love me, you know, like self-love. And I was really lucky that I was able to go through that process in high school. But what I didn't realize was how many women especially were in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and we're still in that process of like self-acceptance and self-love. And I learned so quickly how hair is so much deeper than just hair for so many people. And it was like I like every time I would read these testimonials, I was like getting goosebumps and like I would be like reading it crying and really into it. So yeah, it was just like a really, really crazy experience.
Wow, that's a crazy year. $1 million in revenue is a lot. What do you actually think was, because obviously word of mouth is something that would have been key in building that, but what else was driving that growth? Like, how do you actually make $1 million worth of sales in a year? In your first year, rather.
Yeah. It wasn't like it was for a year from like what, like November or October to but so it was funny because like when I first got asked this question, I was like chismosa culture. Anybody Latino that I say chismosa culture to, they're gonna be like, ha ha ha. Well, chismosa means almost like gossip, like spreading gossip or something. But like, and in our culture, we always say like, oh, you're chismosa. You like love the tea. You love to like hear what's happening. And there's like a running joke about if you live in like predominantly Latino neighborhoods, it's like you don't need security cameras. You have your neighbors, and it's like everyone's like nosy looking at what's happening. So and what I would joke around and say lovingly is like she's multicultural, like this culture of this part of like the Latino culture of like when you have something that you love, you don't keep it for yourself. You tell your grandma, your mom, your Uber driver, the lady at the grocery store. You tell everybody. When I tell you, I was there were women that have never met me before in their life. They were in Puerto Rico, they were in New York, they were in Florida, never met me before in their life. They were they were like going on Facebook writing long testimonials in Spanish like this young lady right here reminds me of my own daughter. I use her products and look at my hair. If you believe in me and you are my family, you will support this young lady.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Every time I would read it, I would like get emotional, but then I would like think it was just so crazy. And I think that God again, there we go, there we go. Okay, no, passing to Wusa. Um, I think that
This is going to
okay.
be a great video. That's going on the socials.
Sorry. God, why'd you have a Pisces on here? You should like filter out, like no Pisces allowed on the show. Okay. So what I didn't realize at the time was, my God, okay. I feel like me and my story. Oh my God. Literally, sorry. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry.
Don't say sorry. I'm here for it. Sip sisters.
Oh my God. Mind you, I've done a lot of podcasts and interviews. I don't understand why this one's just so, like, I feel like you're really in front of me.
I am really in front of you.
Yeah. I feel like I can like feel your energy. Like, I'm like, I don't know.
That's so cool though.
Yeah, so I feel like my story and me represented so much more to people than like I realized.
Like they had a piece of them, like they had a piece of you in them, and they were like, that's me, that's my auntie, that's my mom, she's doing it for all of us. And also I think that sense of like she gets us. She truly understands what I go through on this deeply personal, intimate thing, which, you know, hair gives you confidence, it's part of your identity, all these things. Every woman was being like, you feel me.
Yeah, totally. And so I think for me at that moment, like it was very apparent that with great, you know, with great, what is it called? Um, with great gifts, with great, you know, talents, with great things, like comes big responsibility. And I think that that moment was when I realized, like, all right, well, like, what am I going to do with this power that they're giving me? You know, what am I going to do with every time they're giving me their dollars? That's power. So they're allowing me to grow, allowing me to have, you know, a platform, allowing me to have, you know, everything I do have. So what am I going to do with that? Oh my God. Sorry. Okay. So with that said, from the very beginning, like I've always said, Rizos Curls, my little like personal mission statement is curls community culture. And so every step of the way that we started growing, especially in the beginning, was actually being in the community, like being there. Like I was holding all these different events, whether it was like curl classes, I was holding like there was, for example, like during one of the times, there was a lot of ICE raids going on for where like literally ICE was going into like restaurants and schools and just like taking all these people and like arresting them without even asking for identification. It was just like really shitty um, things. So I remember having an event at my office where I brought an immigration lawyer and she was able to hold kind of like a Q&A session with like all these different people that wanted to come in, and we would hold them in Spanish and English, and she was giving like legal advice. And that was like one of my friends who I connected with. And so Rizos Curls was like less of just like, oh, hair education. It kind of became like a community center for whatever is going on. Another time, we were raising money for the families that were affected by the Mississippi ice raids, and I was like, what should we do? What should we do? We came together and we threw like the most fire reggaeton party in LA. We raised like over like $8,000. When I tell you, like all these DJs that like big time cool DJs came and like donated their time. The venue, the local bar in downtown donated their whole space for us. Like we sold tickets, like people volunteered to bartend, like my cousins have this like ice cream shop. So like they were giving away ice cream. Somebody else was like, I have a cotton candy business. So yeah, we were like, it was
Love
so
cotton candy. Bring it along.
yeah, they're like, I have a cotton candy bitch. I'm gonna go and give free cotton candy to people so they could come and support this cause. So we were just like almost like every weekend we were participating in events, whether it was about hair or not. And I feel like people really got to know me. I even went to New York. I was going to be my first time in New York. And I was like, what event do you guys want? And mind you, this whole time I'm talking to my customers on social, like they are my best friends. And then that's another thing that I tell people. I'm like, if you're gonna, if you don't have money, marketing money, like, you know what is the best marketing tool? Turning your front camera on, getting right in front of the people and talking to them like they are your friends, like just directly talking to them. If you have a question about innovation, what should I do here? There is a great tool on Instagram stories, for example, that's called polls. You can ask them, like, our the first new product that we had after the initial launch was a refresh and a tingle spray. And it was one of like the best launches that I have even had till this day. And it was because I asked the customers, what do you guys want? They were like, can you make me a lighter curl cream for refreshing? Da, 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 da. Okay, done. So I feel like so much of my role in the business has literally been less of telling people what they should need, telling people, like selling things to people, and more of them telling me what to do and what they want, and me taking their orders. Like me being like, I'm on it. I will work my butt off to give you what you are requesting right now. So I think that's been part of the reason why it's been doing good is because I listen. Like I listen to them.
Truly like active listening and putting it into action. Because for me, when I hear this, I'm like, this is amazing. Like you did $1 million in your first calendar year. But then you also figured out like, okay, well, you also need to become a legitimate business and be like, hiring all the people that you need, not just kind of, people out the back and in the garage and all these kinds of things. You had to become this, empire to get it all done and then keep growing and retain your customers and do all the other things.
Yeah. So I truly believe that there is no such thing as bad luck or there's no such thing as good luck. There is the world and the universe generally wants you to be happy. It wants you to be here to love and spread love. And I truly believe that when you're having bad luck, it's like there's something happening. You're not aligning. Like whether it's obviously like things can happen that are like not good, but it's like it's looking inward, listening to your intuition, seeing what how have you not been listening to your mind, to the world, to yourself, to your since forever, and like looking back and analyzing like how can I realign? How can I realign to pivot towards so that more doors can be opening? Because I truly believe that when people start having a lot of like good luck, it's not good luck. It's you're living in your purpose. You're living and doing what is meant for you. And I truly believe that what is meant for you will always be for you. And then when doors close, when I fail at something, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I failed because it means that the universe paused me and it told me, stop, this is the wrong way to go, this is not for you. And I don't want something, if it's for somebody else, I don't want it. I want them to have it because that is in their purpose and that is how they will be happiest and will be able to give the most love on this earth. And I think that like when doors start opening, I'm like, okay, I need to like be really prepared and use everything that I've had in my tool shed of knowledge and grow and keep doing this, because it's not enough for the universe to like throw little luck your way to open a door. You have to be prepared. You have to not let it fall. You have to like opportunity and preparation have to meet each other equally, and I was really lucky in that I had been preparing for this type of business growth my whole life. Like, who told me to go to grad school? Why did I do all that? Like, my last position before leaving Nestle, I was the account manager working directly with the buyer for Target, with representing the world's largest food company, literally. So, and then within the year, about a year, at a year point, my whole life, my brother has been the person that since I was a little girl, I thought he was the smartest human being on this earth. You couldn't tell me anything. Like, I would be learning about Einstein and I'm like, he's not smarter than my brother. My big brother, Tony, he's smarter than them. So at 1 year, I convinced him to leave his corporate job. And mind you, him too, he had been studying business his whole life. He went to business school as well. Like, what? Like, who told him to do that? And but his type of business, he's had very heavy numbers, very heavy finance. And so it was literally the opposite. Like, it was almost like when we came together, we made a full circle because he's very antisocial. He's very like introverted. He's very like, give me a spreadsheet, give me some numbers, and I will be here all day long. And I don't want no one to talk to me. Like, I want to be behind the scenes and like, but his specialty is numbers. So it was almost like when we came together, oh, there is no business person, no fancy schmancy office and education and experience that could literally try even a pinky of the power that my brother and I have together.
That's so cool. That is so, so cool. I feel like I could talk to you for literally ever and ask you a million questions, but I am conscious of the time and how generous you've been with sharing. So I have a few quick questions left before we do our wrap up 6 quick questions at the end. Where is the business today? What exciting things can you shout about? How big is the team? Can you share any revenue numbers? Hit me with the highlights.
Yeah, well, we're on track for 10 million a year this year.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, so we are going to be 4 years old in October of this year, and we're just growing. And we launched into large retail last year in 2020 into Target, and we're continuing to go into way more doors. We're in 57 countries now, and we're launching. Yeah, we have like a really big launch of new innovation this year. Expect a bunch of new products, and yeah, just continue growing. I mean, I'm so lucky to have be able to employ such talented, amazing people, and I've just been um, really focusing on what I love most now, which is, innovation, like product development, all of that, especially the last year that was really difficult with the pandemic and everything that was going on. It allowed me to go back to my original love, which was development, which is like innovation. So I've been really lucky to now be able to finally launch it.
That is so cool. I'm really excited to see what you come out with. I think I also read you're completely bootstrapped still, right?
Yes. So till this day, completely 100% self-funded. My brother's still my right-hand man. So much of my family still like works with me. Our team is actually all, you know, uh, Latino people from LA. Like, we're all LA natives. We're all from like the same neighborhood. Like, it wasn't even on purpose. I just kept meeting these people, and I feel like one thing that my business we've been able to show is how much talent, how much raw talent there is in these communities. And I feel like as soon as you give them a chance, it's like they show out. So I'm so proud of my team. Um, yeah, and we're still bootstrapped. And what allows us to be bootstrapped is that we've been very conscious of profit since day one. Like, I think I that's a conversation that I have with my retailers all the time. It's like, no, we're not. You cannot compare us to these big, huge companies with lots of investors that have never been profitable, have these financial statements that literally say they don't plan to ever be profitable. The cost of acquiring customer is greater than the actual cost of the product. Um, that's not me. I can't afford that. Like, in order for me to grow, I have to have profit. So because of that, you can't have the same policies in place. You can't expect me to compete with these marketing numbers. You can't compete. We can't compete in the same campaigns. Like, I can't pay that. I'm not about to do this. I can't pay you $1,000 for a sign on your store per store. Like, the bank will literally laugh at me when I try to go get a loan for that. So I think it's like I realized, and I'm on this like almost like mission every time I um, step into like a new space where it's their first time interacting with a business that kind of looks like mine. So our first big retail collaboration was with Nordstrom's Hot Look, and it was their first time working with a multicultural brand, like self-funded, multicultural, whatever. And we ended up being the highest selling hair care brand during that time period. And then next with Nestle, we started a whole new category within hair care called Latina hair care. And this category launched with me. And there's been so many other places and spaces where it's their first time, like, dealing with a business that looks like mine. And I feel like it's my responsibility that in order for me to leave that door open for other businesses that have a similar background, I have to fight these battles. I have to educate them. I have to let them know that, you know what I mean? In order for true diversity to exist behind the scenes as well, not just a model that you post on this, ad for 1 week, you have to analyze these gatekeepers, have to analyze the policies that they have in place that are keeping out diverse businesses, are keeping out self-funded businesses, are keeping out these businesses that may not have these crazy marketing dollars and budgets, but they have really quality products and really quality missions, really quality, things that they're doing for, their industry.
Totally. Gosh, that's amazing. And something that, yeah, it never even crossed my mind that you need to like go in there and put your foot down and be like, hey, of course I can't compete. Of course we don't have the same dollars as these big conglomerates. Wow, that's amazing. Holy moly.
Yeah. I fight these battles like on a daily basis.
That's crazy. Go you.
Yeah, I've been really lucky to, for example, have like a target who has been able to be understanding and compromise and work with us and has gone back and reanalyzed their own policies and like, you know, like my beginnings with all those other labs and all these people that were changing and making exceptions for me. It's like they're understanding that as well and they're willing to change. So I really am grateful for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. What is your key piece of advice for women who have a big idea and want to start their own business?
Girl, trust me. Like I said, if this business is solving a solution, like, all you can do is truly, truly understand your target demographic, hone into that person. Is she in LA? Here, is she in New York and London? Where is she? Who is she? Where is she? What does she do? What pages does she follow? What businesses does she support? Get in there, really hone in and serve her. F everything else, F everybody else. But if you have a solution and you understand who you are serving, don't let anything keep you from them and don't let anything distract you from getting to her or him. And that is one big thing that I've been very lucky, that I've been very consistent on, is understanding my target demographic and not letting me so much noise distract me from, at the end of the day, serving that person, because it doesn't have to be so complicated. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. We make business too difficult. We're out here trying to serve everybody. Like, unless you have a huge marketing budget, you cannot afford this huge marketing demographic, but you can afford a niche and you can serve that niche and you can be the best person at serving that niche. It doesn't mean that people outside of that niche won't buy. They probably will, because we have customers from everywhere. But as long as you are the best one serving that niche, you can grow and other people will see it and want it as well.
Love that. So true. Okay, we are up to the 6 quick questions. We're going to breeze through it because I'm super aware of the time here.
I'm a
Are you still
talker,
good?
sorry.
No,
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm a talker too. You're all good? Okay, cool. All right, 6 quick questions. Let's go. Question number 1 is, what's your why? Why are you doing what you do?
Curl love is self-love, and I'm here to um, convert undercover curlies to the curly world.
I love that. That's so cool. Question number 2 is, what do you think has been the number 1 marketing moment that made the business pop?
One really big moment that I did not expect it to be so big was Ryan Seacrest with Patty Rodriguez called me and they wanted to highlight my small business on the radio show. In the middle of it, Patty Rodriguez, I met her briefly during an event one time. And little did I know she was going to have Ryan Seacrest call me. Do you know who Ryan Seacrest is?
Yeah.
He has a big radio show on Kiss FM in LA. And they called me and they did like this whole little thing on me. When I tell you our sales and our inquiries, and it was just insane. And I think that was like the first step towards like a mainstream audience seeing my little business.
Wow, that's amazing. Gosh. Question number 3 is, where do you hang out to get smarter? What are you reading or listening to or subscribing to that is helping you get smarter?
I love audiobooks. I love reading. I love one podcast. Like I'm here for it. But the last book that I read that I was just like gems, dropping gems, it's called Rework. I really recommend Rework. It's by the founders of Basecamp, are the ones that wrote the book, and gems, read it. It's so amazing. Love it.
Great. I'm going to link that in the show notes. I'm definitely going to check it out myself. That sounds so cool. Question number 4 is, how do you win the day? What are your AM or PM rituals and habits that keep you feeling successful and motivated and happy?
Work-life balance. I think that was a lesson I learned early on, was that in order for my business to run well, I have to be healthy. I have to take care of myself. And I have to understand that at the end of the day, it's just hair. So I cannot kill myself over this. I cannot I can't compromise my health over this. So I make work-life balance a really big part of the business culture. So I make sure that, if I'm happy, our employees are happy. I feel like we will be way more productive and do much more quality work, and it will come off to the customers as well. So, like health, eating right, working out, having moments to disconnect. All of these things are what have been really important for me and the business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Question number 5, we're almost there, is, if you were given a $1,000 no strings attached grant, where would you spend that money?
I would just get more product, or like new product, anything new that I could afford, whatever has as many units I can afford with that $1,000. As long as I have my phone, that's exactly what I would do. And I would tell people about it and make a really fun video. TikTok, I would put it on, and then I would make the video on TikTok. By the way, anyone who's starting or growing a business, do not sleep on TikTok. TikTok is the future.
It's so good, isn't it? I've been loving watching all the small businesses blow up on there. And question number 6, last question, is, how do you deal with failure? What's your mindset and approach when things don't go to plan? I think we might have already touched on it, but all the same.
Yeah, when I'm grateful because what is meant for you will always be for you. And when a door closes, it's because that door wasn't for you, and the universe and life has a different plan for you. So when something closes, don't be upset. Be grateful that you didn't go in a direction that wasn't going to serve you.
Julissa, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show. I am just in awe of you and your energy. I loved this chat so much, and I'm so grateful that you gave me so much of your time. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I'm honored to be on here, and thank you so much for having me.